our viewers get nauseous, right? Because I just start kind of crazy moving the camera around here. One thing the team pointed out that I think is pretty cool is in Spectator you can actually zoom in even closer than you can in the normal default game camera, right?
I can actually see this being really handy for community content creators who want to maybe like film or get in closer to some of our units, look at them more detailed.
You know, Jesse on our team, when he produces those awesome trailers for new leaders, kind of uses a similar tool here that allows him to push in extra close.
Now, I'm seeing the X button has Fog of War on. Does that mean you can toggle?
I just
as Spectator, we can just toggle Fog of War on and off?
Check it out. We can. So we might as well leave it off for the sake of our viewer audience, right? So not much happening here. Let's jump up to, you'll see down on the up top in the mini-map there, it shows where my cursor is, the clear one. So we've already got a little skirmish going down here, it looks like.
How close can we zoom in down on some of these Marines? Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, we can go in way close right now. So it looks like right off the bat, our blue team, which is Team Brute Force, already getting one of their little satellite structures attacked here. And even though I'm in free mode, I'm still technically following that 2dev 691 blah blah blah. So I can see that person just got a leader point, which they have not spent yet. I know.
Oh
chat,
wow! That's
our
chat's not going to like that.
Out, people that don't use their leader points. You know, we'll see if that ends up being a problem later on. While this match kind of transpires and gets built up, let me just kind of slowly pan around the map just a little bit.
Let's take some kind of environmental shots.
Give people some ideas of kind of what this map looks like. It's got a pretty cool aesthetic.
I love the depth down in there. How you can actually see down into the map.
Oh yeah, you can. Way down there is bottomless pit. Like there's a huge skirmish going on here mid-map, and we're looking at a chasm. So Jeff, if you want to kind of give us a sense of what's going on here.
So you see we got the skirmish going on now. I mean, a lot of the early game is where you're going to start to see some of the strategies that the teams are maybe showing their hand at wanting to employ. And it's going to be interesting to see how they combine their personal play strategies even with the strengths of some of the leaders. So if we've got, I believe, our two Brute brothers.
Two Brute brothers. I do think that they are both playing as
and
Team
it's
Brute
interesting
Force,
because these are kind of I've been joking they're like the Bebop and Rocksteady of the Jirohane, and they're made obviously to stand on their own. Vortis especially is definitely good when paired in a team. Probably not as strong, or at least a little tougher to use and master by yourself. But Vortis definitely works as great support, and works as, like I said, especially good support with his Brute Bro, Pavium.
I'm going to jump over here to red team, see how the Spartan Strikers are doing. I don't exactly remember who this is right now, Max or Clay, but got a nice little base going on there. It looks like.
I love this beach area.
Yeah, this is nice.
Awesome.
It's kind of a nice little like summer getaway
little resort getaway.
Nice little slow build up here in the early game, of course.
One of the things I love that we that was improved is the kind of purple lavender HUD indicators over some of the NPC units like the Sentinels.
Pretty good startup here, it looks like. Not a lot's happened. We had a small skirmish in the beginning for mid-map control, but now both teams have kind of resigned themselves to just getting their bases built up, getting that economy going. You know, I have to say, during the lead-in here, I didn't even quite notice. I believe, who do we have over here on the Spartan Strikers? We have, what, Cutter and Jerome?
I think we have Cutter and Jerome. Yeah.
Okay, Cutter and Jerome. So,
which is an interesting pairing, really. It's kind of like the UNSC's version of, you know, Vader and the Emperor.
Tyrell is asking if Spectator is filling one player spot. At the moment it is, but my understanding, and maybe one of our teammates here playing, if they can hear me, I still believe that you can play a 3v3 game and have one extra slot for Spectator. That is correct.
We are getting the okay from off camera.
So right now, obviously, we're just doing a 2v2.
So technically, that means that there is a 7th player spot that's been opened up and available for that.
Yes, but you can't ever have more than one Spectator in a game. Is that correct, Isaac? One Spectator. So to answer your question there, Nakamura, one Spectator at a time. So I'm going to go back into follow mode here and kind of roll around.
Here we go. We've got some abilities being used now.
Got a leader power coming into play. Let's zoom in
I
here.
just
and watch
love
this
that glassing
destruction.
spiral
Oh,
trace there.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Nice. This extra zoom functionality really kind of gives you an appreciation for some of the awesome work that the animators did. There's a lot of just little tiny details you don't get to see. I believe we got a new mega turret over there.
Where are we at? Where are you looking at?
Right here. We got
Oh, you're right. That is a mega turret.
Yeah.
We saw that last week in our new leader preview with Clay.
So that's really kind of an interesting play there because it kind of gives you like an artillery setup using a mini base like this. Rather, typically conventionally you would go out and you would use a mini base for either some extra resources or maybe extra power generation, or maybe you want to have an extra barracks or garage that you can build vehicles or build inventory and get them into battle a little bit closer. But this is a different approach, obviously, because now you can actually move your artillery, kind of move the front out a little bit and be strategic. Maybe you're putting it close to an enemy base.
Speaking
really
of enemy
interesting to
base,
see how
right here, it
players
looks
use
like
that.
we've got one of the Brute brothers. I see some of this infused.
We got some Vortis action here. We got all this gray goo.
Infusion goo starting to spread across the map, making a play right now, trying to take out this
watch
satellite
out for his
base.
goo shooter, man.
Yep. We've learned a lot about that goo last week. Remember, it can actually buff friendly units. It also can be, later on, via leader power, kind of lit on fire as like a napalm to hurt enemy units.
I really like the effect, actually. And we noticed last week that we were playing on a different map. It was actually a little bit tougher to see that. But now that we're playing, I know some people in the chat had noticed that they were worried that it might not be real visible. But now we're seeing, with the right background and contrast especially, that's you can definitely know and see where that stuff is.
I still see a couple shout-outs in the chat for hashtag Team Corey. So
a lot of hashtag Team Corey.
A lot of people rooting for Team Brute Force. Don't worry about it over there, Spartan Strikers. We're still rooting for you.
We love you.
We do. I mean, I am, as it was called out, I am repping the Spartan squad here with my apparel. Speaking of Spartan Strikers, let's jump back over to those guys now. Now I'm just going to hit my right trigger to cycle to a different player. I'm going to hit the Y button to go back to follow cam. So right now we are looking at
It's interesting with the follow cam because, like even just as a player myself, to watch some players that are more experienced, to see like how they go to micro, where they're moving the camera, and even how quickly they're moving from back and forth to try to pay attention. And looking at our mini map, I don't know about you, but I'm seeing a lot of blue.
I'm seeing a lot more blue right now. I think it's safe to say Team Brute Force is off to an early start. Good start here.
More like Blue Force, I think.
We were worried about our time.
We can get over there. You can actually see an encroaching blue force on that red base there. Here we go. Got it right here.
Yep. So right now we're watching Max's point of view.
I'm already loving the Spectator. This is
it's
fantastic.
Really cool. And remember, somebody else in the chat already pointed this out. Halo Wars 2 will be getting a 4K update for Xbox One X later this fall. So imagine how much cooler the Spectator is going to look at that level of resolution.
So many Ks.
So now we got some serious fighting going on here. Let's see what Max does to respond. Right now he's kind of holding back on his army. I think he's just going to let that base go. I don't think it's worth it right now.
Just leave it to the burn, man.
I'm going to detach the camera here. I'm going to fly back over. I see feels like Max is just going to turn tail right now. Spartan Strike definitely get their backs against the wall. Brute Force on the offensive.
You can see the infusion gels here. It's almost like they're kind of laying this down to secure this base plot for themselves.
I think they are. I think you're right there. Finding a little bit of counter resistance now coming back from Team Spartan Strike. I think that's Isaac coming in here to try to help Max out, who just lost that satellite base. But that is a large army right there. Brute Force really taking advantage of that infused goo.
Quite a contingent. Now it looks like I see a star on the field. Do we have a hero unit coming out?
I think we do right here. Let's push in and see what this Spartan does against overwhelming odds.
Wait a second. Would that be? That's another Spartan. How are you going to have screen like at the same time?
Like double Jerome?
Like a double Jerome.
Wait,
is that even possible?
Did someone say double Jerome?
Oh my gosh.
That's right.
It is possible.
No, the Halo Gear store.
We thought all the action was going to be on screen.
The double Jerome look can be yours at the Halo Gear store. Here we go now. It is not looking good. I think Spartan Strikers are down to one base at the moment. One base left. And for a question on the chat here, people were asking if this was one of the new maps with Spearbreaker. This is actually one of two brand new multiplayer maps coming out next Tuesday as part of the game update that'll be free for everyone.
Yep.
which will also include the spectator mode that we're demonstrating here today.
Which is awesome, because, I mean, as players, we all know that sometimes it was tough when you had map packs that were maybe tied, and you had some players that had it and some players that don't. Not everybody gets to experience it. So we wanted to make sure that even with the expansion coming out and kind of being its own separate deal with a host of inclusions, that everybody really got a chance to experience some of these new play spaces, really kind of freshen up the experience, not only for multiplayer, but even if you just kind of wanted to go either alone or in some co-op for some skirmish. That's what I'm looking forward to. I love setting up kind of like imaginary battles
there you go.
and skirmish.
Sorry, there's a question on here by Shaping Sickness on the chat. Asks, what happens if I hit the back button? Can I see production? Actually, I can.
Oh,
so if you just want to kind of look at stats, cycle through players here, we can sort of see what's going on. I think the stats kind of tell the tale of this match so far. Now,
I don't even have to see to know what was going on. The
Yeah,
sound cues right there, that just
Yep.
sounded like a lot of death.
so let's go back to the action and see what's going
Yep.
on here.
Death
This could
confirmed.
be Spartan Strikers' last hurrah.
You
That
have the
base,
telltale sign. It sounds like some ODSTs being dropped in.
now look at this
Oh, man, the
infused
infusion
goo
gel
just
right there
starting,
on the
starting to just kind of creep into the base.
That's
There
rough.
it goes. It went away that time.
Uh-oh.
Is that a Brute Brother? It is. Look at that
Oh,
infused goo
man.
just dripping.
That's
Now remember, both these new
some
Brute
heavy
leaders,
Warlord action coming in.
the new leaders are not free. They are part of the Awakening the Nightmare
Yep.
expansion, which will be available for Win 10 and Xbox One on
It's pretty
Tuesday.
crazy. With these leaders, brings us to a total, I think we talked about it last week, 16 leaders. I believe it's 8 UNSC and 8 banished in total.
That is pretty
Man,
wild.
I love the full-faced helmet on Vortis, man. It's so good.
Jeff,
I don't
I'm
see
seeing a lot
Pavium
of,
on the field yet, but it's too bad we don't see it because I know he has an incredible hat.
People in the chat are demanding a prize. I feel like we probably can give one away. We'll save some for later, of course. But I'm going to put you on the spot here, Graham, and ask you to,
Uh-oh.
any means you have. You could just pick a name from chat. You could ask a question, go with the first answer.
Oh, we're going to
It's
do
up to you.
some prize giveaway?
You can. Let's do one giveaway now in honor of Team Brute Force so far annihilating the Spartan
Oh,
Strikers.
man.
Enemy base destroyed. So yeah, Jeff, why don't you give away a prize here while we're watching this massive wrecking.
All right. Well, obviously, this is taking place on the Ark, and usually we just call it the Ark, but the Forerunners had another name for it. What is the Forerunner name for the Ark? It involves a number. Who's the first one to get that? First one to type that in. The other name for the Ark. Dr. Leo.
Okay, Dr. Leo.
Dr.
correct
Leo right
answer,
there, installation 00.
So hopefully
Installation numbers. Everybody loves talking about installation numbers.
All right, well, I'm going to reach down here and pick out a prize at random, and Dr. Leo is going to win, just in time for fall, a banished beanie
Boom, right
in
here.
honor of Team Brute Force.
Dr. Leo has a very impressive mane.
And dude,
as
get a
well.
load of this.
This will struggle to capture it all, but
Someone say they wanted Atriox tube socks. We've got
Atriox.
Atriox tube socks. Atriox in honor of Team Brute Force. So
I
congratulations.
think I'm going to have to ask a question that only I know the answer to for these.
You win a prize. We will.
He gets both? He gets the hat and the socks?
Yeah, I don't want to go through the hassle of mailing just one of those, so we're going to mail
There
them
you
both.
go.
There you go.
This is
Hopefully
for
we
you,
have a
Dr.
way
Leo.
to connect with you and get your mailing info. So
It's true.
I hope we have the technology to do that. We'll have to
Put
figure that
these,
part out.
put these right back here.
I'm not sure we thought that part through all the way here, Grim.
Probably
Back
not.
to the action, though. This match is coming to a close. This looks like the last remnants of Team Spartan Strike.
I tell you what, I'm actually really impressed at how resilient the Spartan Strikers have been. We've been seeing basically, nothing but blue on the map for quite a while, and
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. I mean, I think really from the beginning we knew the end, right? This was all Team Brute Force all the time. Now they're just showing off, demonstrating new abilities for us, which is nice. Spreading this.
we got a leader
infused
point.
goo.
could
And,
this be a tide turner?
Let's go right up here. Don't count them out yet, folks. Team Spartan Strike desperately clinging on here. 48 seconds left. Can they get another base built?
Oh, man.
I'm going to go on a limb here and say
Uh-oh.
maybe
Oh,
not.
it looks like we have a little Lich Vanguard action. I love this power,
Yeah,
man,
look
especially
at
when
this.
you're able to zoom in on the Banished Lich is super cool looking.
All right, so I feel like maybe some people are watching this already thinking like, oh boy, these two Brute Brothers, OP, calling it now.
Just looks like a really angry, well-armed trilobite.
I mean, keep in mind, we don't know what the... Exactly. As Clay just yelled to me off camera, it may seem like the Brute Brothers are OP, but what he's really saying is he and Tori are
They're
just much better players
I think
than
that's...
Team Spartan Strikes. Yeah, your own results may vary, exactly. So, Brute Force
It's almost
clinging
like
on.
he's tossing shade to his co-workers, though, which...
Yeah, you know,
I
we're
don't
all
know
about
if
friendly
he's
and
saying
that is it. Look at
they're
that.
the best.
Our first ever streamed,
Oh, man.
semi-casted, spectator mode deathmatch
True.
comes to a conclusion.
They can never take this away from us.
With the blue team, known as Team Brute Force, the Brute Brothers, emerging victorious here in Game 1 on our